There we go.
Hello and welcome to our live tonight.
Our second one in a week.
It is, yeah. I'm still a bit tired from last night.
Yep.
What a great fundraising event that was, the 24-hour fundraiser for Dean Trust.
Absolutely fantastic, wasn't it?
It was.
Really good. A big thank you to everybody who made a donation, however big, small, yesterday, to everyone who was involved. Just want to give you a little show of the GoFundMe. Over $5,000 was made.
It is over £5,000 now, including all the donations.
Absolutely brilliant. And still some coming in, as you can see.
Oh, what is it? Streamlabs donations as well. So those haven't gone in just yet. But absolutely fantastic. Well done, everyone who donated.
Yeah, well done. So we've popped the link in there just in case there's any extra donations that can come in. But big welcome to Laura. Laura, it is amazing to have you. We were lucky enough to see you in 2019 at Vegan Camp Out.
Yeah.
And that's where we first came across you. So I'm so not just me. We are honoured to have you, definitely. Not just me. So we'll just have a look and see who's in the house, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about schools. Oh, what have I done to the screen?
What have you done?
I don't know. Don't leave me to do the computer.
Right, so we got Leon. He's back from his nap.
Leon he was there from the start yesterday, Laura. Literally 11:30 in the morning, and he was there till 11:30 this morning. So he was there all night, all day.
Yeah, brilliant. Got Satan inside. Hello, Satan.
Hello, lovely.
Let's have a look down. We got a new
hello
face.
Martin.
Hello, Martin.
Nice to have you here.
Got I'm Easy Vegan. You right?
I'm Easy Vegan, by the way, is also involved in our school projects that we are doing. So it's because of our children, obviously Jack and his children, they're both sort of Jack's age, 3, and there's a younger one. We wanted to make sure that schools were a bit better before our kids went to school. So we are the sort of main people behind it.
Brilliant.
Trash Carcass, hello.
Hey, thank you for your subscribe and welcome.
The subscription, yes, it means a lot to us. Thank you.
I think our segment was all about your combine harvester that everybody wanted you to stop singing.
Yeah. To carry on singing it until this started donating.
No, never again. No, it was good fun.
Ang Harrod's live.
Hello both.
Got the Gecko. Hello, Gecko. The vegan moon cat.
Or shall we now know him as the flute man, the vegan flute man?
The vegan flute man.
Yes. So for those of you who don't know the vegan moon cat, I'm going to ask you very kindly to go and check him out. He has a fantastic YouTube channel, and his latest video, the FU Flute, is worth your time.
It's a dedication to all the people in 2010 that promoted animal abuse.
Yes, so please, 2020.
2020 was
10 years ago.
Oh, 2020. Yeah, I was living in the past.
Yes, so go and check him out. He's absolutely brilliant.
Check it out. We've got Vegan King. Hello, Vegan King.
Hello.
Grumpy Vegan Grandad. Laura, he has signed your petition.
Yes, we need to talk about that as well in the stream.
Got Bohemian B. Hello.
Hello, B. Hope you're enjoying your bath.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Michelle Lowe. Hello, Michelle.
And thank you for the shout out in your stream. Michelle has a brilliant YouTube channel, guys. So if you're not subscribed, do go over and check her out.
We're members of the Secret Squirrels.
Yes, we became members of the Secret Squirrels tonight. So we can have a wonderful little emojis.
In December, I saw your Instagram story today.
Yes, she shared Adam singing last night, which was a lovely reminder for you today.
Yeah, I woke up and saw that, and I thought, oh no.
Yes.
Got the wonderful Defender of Animals.
Yes, I'm actually wearing the tea tonight.
I got my tea.
Oh no, I'll let you do it.
Yeah, please. But Charlotte, hello.
Hello, lovely. How are you doing?
Anti-vegan nonsense. Hello, Mike.
Our Canadian friend. He's come to see what it's all about.
Jerry D4, hello.
Hello.
Gary.
That's my dad, I think.
Oh, I was going to say, we've not seen you before.
Hello. We got Sally Rogers as well. Hello,
Hello.
Laura. Hi,
We've
Laura.
got some new faces here tonight. So welcome. Thank you, guys.
Pies in all of Bury.
Tracy
Yay.
Shuttleworth. Hello.
Hello. I think
I
that's it.
think that's it. Yeah.
Oh, and Muddy Paws.
And Muddy Paws just
seen us
sneaking in there. Sneaking in there.
Okay, so Laura, welcome, absolute massive welcome. Do you want to tell the guys a little bit about your vegan journey, and then we'll go on and tell them about what you're currently doing or what you have been doing in the schools?
Sure. So vegan journey starts, well, it started way back when I was about 11 years old and became vegetarian for the animals. But then it wasn't until I had my own daughter and I was weaning her from breast milk to solids that I made the connection with the cows and the dairy farms. And so she's 7 years old now, so it's almost 8 years of being vegan. Oh, there she is. My little vegan girl there herself. She heard me talking about her and couldn't resist. Go on, you, bedtime, baby. And so at the time I was working in a primary school. I'm a fully qualified teacher, and I was also the SENCO, the coordinator for children with special needs in that school as well. So when I became vegan at that time, I just realized that my ethics were clashing with the curriculum that I was expected to teach. And then the rest, as they say, is history. So that's kind of, how long I've been vegan, and obviously raising a vegan daughter as well. So, and that all kind of combined led me to the work that I'm currently doing.
So your daughter, she's quite the little activist as well, isn't she? From something I saw the other day.
Yeah, she doesn't often get the chance to be outspoken because her school is quite good. I've been working with them, and they're quite good at being vegan inclusive. But when she has the opportunity and she writes something along the lines of "animals are not food," which is what she did last week, it makes me super proud.
Yeah,
Shall
definitely. I was going to say it's on your website, and I want everybody here to go and follow you on Instagram. So this is Laura's Instagram page, Primary Vegetation, and this is her work, isn't it? That you were just saying.
That's ace.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the children were expected to go and look in their fridge and talk about where their food has come from and which were animal based and which were plant. And she just used those exclamation marks to absolutely blow out, I do not have any animals in my kitchen. Animals are not food. It was a great feeling to see her. She did that completely independently.
That is amazing.
So she gets it. She absolutely gets it, and it makes me very proud.
I think that's the thing. Children, when they're raised like this, they do get it. They really do. Jack's only 3, and he totally gets it. He finds it really sad that people eat animals.
It is sad. It is sad that people eat animals. She can't really fathom why they do it, because she thinks it's more gross than the kind of where she's at now. She thinks it's more gross than it is cruel, because obviously she hasn't seen slaughterhouse footage and things along those lines. I've just told her, the kind of child-friendly version, and she gets it. But more than anything, she just grimaces at the thought of seeing people eating animals.
See, I think it's really interesting that you were a teacher. How did you teach your daughter about veganism? Because I think for a lot of us in the chat, we're still very new into veganism, or our children are young, and obviously for us, we try to keep it age appropriate, and we teach through books. We tell him certain things. But how did you find the best way to teach your daughter about veganism?
I think it may very well have just been a really gradual thing of just whenever she asked a question, I would always answer at great length until I was kind of convinced that she understood, really. But I'm quite fortunate because my mother is vegan, my brother is vegan, his wife and nephews. So within our family, my first cousin is vegan. There's quite a few of us. And they've been supporting me with those conversations with her as well. But I think generally she just gets it because she sees me talk about it all of the time, And any question that she's asked, I'm just always completely honest with her about. She's got fabulous books. She's got Vivi the Super Vegan, and
Yes.
yeah, and she's got and the Planet Protector now too, and she's got the Ruby Roth books. You know, I think one of the very first books we ever used with her were the ABCs of Being Kind.
Yes, we've got that one now.
So perhaps I'd take it for granted that she just gets it, but in actual fact, I think growing up with me, who's such a strong advocate for veganism, it's almost just rubbed off and made it seem like the norm, I guess. So
this book, obviously we've got you on tonight to talk about schools. Yes, everybody needs to know. My book,
you guys.
My bookmark has fell out.
Yeah, we can double do.
Yay! So for those of you in the chat who don't know what we are doing, we'll give you a little quick glimpse into what is going on behind the scenes, and we'll explain why we've brought Laura on tonight. So back in the summer, myself, as a family, we became the highlight of the anti-vegans. And instead of sort of fighting back, after a couple of months, I decided I needed to do something, because we came across lots of young vegan children, you know, babies, older children on Instagram and various different social medias being, you know, targeted by anti-vegans. And then the more I've chatted to other families, the more I've found out that schools just are not great. So I wanted to do something.
Well, there's nothing to say. There's no, like, what's the word I'm trying to look for? There's nothing in place for vegan children.
It's either is good or it isn't good. So this is something that we've been putting together to approach the schools, and it is a research project. And there's a lot of people involved. There's some people in the stream tonight who are involved, and we've called it the Vegan Education Alliance. But if we go back to Laura, because you're the boss at the computer screen, just putting it out there.
Yeah.
Laura has written a book about an educator's guide to vegan inclusive education. So for those of you who don't have this book and have children at school, definitely go and get this book.
And so you can find it on bookshop.org, and it's at the moment priced at £12.08.
Yes. And everything is in here that you need to know. So, right.
You're waiting for me to go back?
Yes. Okay, so let's talk about schools.
Yes.
As parents who haven't got children in school yet, it does fill us with anxiety, because we know that conversation is going to be coming up soon when we start looking for schools. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your story behind this book?
Absolutely. So I mentioned I was a teacher, and then when my ethics started to clash with the curriculum, I just left. I thought, you know what, I can't work here anymore. Nothing in my mind was at that point thinking that I could do anything about it. I just didn't want anything to do with it. And I opened a vegan restaurant because I'd become vegan. I had my calling. I had to do something. So my first thought was I'll open a restaurant, because there was nothing in the town where I lived in Ramsbottom, which is Bury, Grumpy Grandad, by the way. I do live there. And I had that restaurant for a good few years, and it wasn't until my own daughter started school at the age of 4, and on her very first day of school, something in my mind was thinking, although her school knows that she's vegan, because I have mentioned it on her form, what if they don't have any food for her? Just what if? And this thing was going on in my mind. So I went to the office and I spoke to them, and I was just told, no, she's not going to be fed vegan food. It's not something that we offer. It's not something that we're willing to do. And I remember, I'm even choking up about it now. I remember going to my local supermarket and just crying, sobbing, walking around trying to get together some kind of packed lunch that I was going to deliver. And I think, if I hadn't have had the experience of being a teacher and knowing how badly the curriculum does clash with vegan ethics, I may have just thought, oh, that's the end of that. I'll just make her a packed lunch every day. But I think having that knowledge of how schools work and knowing how much schools wish to adopt that we are inclusive kind of, rhetoric. I just thought, you know what, I can't just leave it at that. I'm going to have to do something about this. And I was quite fortunate at the time that a good friend of mine was the MP here. And I wrote to him, and I wrote to councillors, and I wrote to school food services, and I wrote to my teacher. And thankfully, her head teacher was really good, and the council are quite progressive and forward thinking here. And we actually came to a point where Bury, the borough where we live, now has the only rolling vegan menu in the entire country that any child who lives in Bury can ask for. And I just thought, it can't stop there. So started to kind of offer my services to other parents who might have been in the same situation as me, offering them letter pro formas and templates and things like that, and acting as a bit of an intermediary between myself and them and their schools, and just saying, you really should be providing vegan food, and just giving a little bit of parent empowerment here and there. But then it suddenly dawned on me that nobody else in the country, perhaps the world, was even doing this kind of thing. And so it progressed then to me going into schools and holding staff meetings to not just talk about the fact that they should be fed vegan food, but also they shouldn't really be learning about zoos and aquariums and doing hatching projects. So it was kind of at that point that I just formed Primary Vegetation as a consultant, basically, someone who was professional, who had a teaching background, who could go into schools and teach the teachers about what veganism is. And I've been doing that for a few years now. It then suddenly kind of dawned on me that perhaps I should write a book, because there's only one of me. Yes. And I'm traveling to Norwich one day and then Nottingham the next, and going here, there and everywhere. And so that's kind of where the idea for the guidebook came from, because when I was the coordinator for children who have special needs in the school where I worked, I read many, many guidebooks to learn about the special needs of all of the children. And so I knew how the layout should look and what kind of things should be included. And I just wrote it in kind of an informative and friendly way, so that a teacher who did want to be inclusive but just didn't know how had the opportunity to. And that led me to where I am today, really.
I think it's amazing that there is something like this out there. I think it gives, especially for us, it gives us a lot of hope, and I'm sure there's people in that. Yeah,
it's
definitely, it's really, really needed. I mean, the good thing is now, obviously, January last year, the Equality Act 2010 changed over here, and it added veganism as a protected characteristic. So for us, that is very much going to be our focus with this school project, but also when Jack starts school. But I think it's not just about the food, is it, and the menu that I hear about. There are lots of different challenges, as you've just said, hatching and zoos. How do you think, as parents, what is the best way to get around some of these barriers at schools?
So I have, the most of the schools that I've been in, I've found that they just don't understand what veganism is. They're not doing it out of malice. They're doing it mostly because it's easy. I mean, if you want to teach a farm topic and you type in farm and early years setting, instantly you've got 3 million resources at the end of your fingertips. So it's easy to just regurgitate the same topics that have been done over and over and over again. And if you go in there and you talk to them about what veganism is and what they should and shouldn't perhaps do, it's a learning curve for them. So I think just to go in, parents, with an open mind, realize that even if they reject what you're saying initially, just be persistent and be kind, and just kind of keep asking. And my daughter's teacher sent something out the other day, and she'd used the word dairy when in actual fact it should have been calcium. And I just emailed her and said, this is what's up. And she was grateful. She was like, look, I'm constantly learning. They're constantly learning. I think we just have to revert back to kind of when we weren't vegan and our mindsets, and just be patient. I mean, I always said when she started school, I've got 6 years to get them vegan inclusive. I didn't for a minute think it would happen in the first, second or third years. But those topics have been taught for centuries.
Yeah.
Nursery Rhymes, for example.
It's the program, isn't it? Because people are programmed to think that way, and we've can somehow relate to it with the nursery.
Yeah.
Because we've had to teach the nursery a thing or two when it comes to things like this.
Things like some of the books that they read. And I mean, I went in one day and I saw this healthy eating poster that they were passing the kids round, and there was this book about meat and fish. And I clocked my eyes on it and I went, has my son been reading that? I said, because I don't want him to read that book, because he doesn't see animals as food, because for us, they're not food. And I gave them the Live Well plate table from the Vegan Society. And that's what is now hanging up in the place of that book, which I was really proud to see that. They've worked really hard with us, actually. They are amazing.
That's it. I mean, I just think if you go in there and you want to be helpful, you want to educate them. I mean, I always say that the work that I do is teaching the teachers.
Yes.
I have to go in and teach the teachers what veganism is, because they just don't know. I mean, when I was vegetarian, I didn't know what a vegan was. So, these people who love children and love teaching and want to be better, I'm like, let me guide you. And any parent should just have that mindset of, just let me gently guide you. Because it is asking a lot, because I know from having been a teacher, they are busy people.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of stress and a lot of pressures on them. And so whatever we can do to make their life easier, and accept that they probably will make mistakes, like my teacher with the dairy thing last week, they will make mistakes, but as long as we're patient and we just keep informing them, and then eventually the children will join in as well.
Yeah, we just got to guide them forward and just allow them to make themselves better, really, as people, and to understand what veganism really means to us as families.
Because the nursery did think it was diet.
Yeah, they did. And to be honest, we were the first vegan family there.
Yeah,
so they were like,
whoa, what's veganism?
I'm trying to think of a vegan term, but it's like rabbit in the headlights. They're like, oh my God, what are we going to do, sort of thing.
But they did go out and do their own research. I do hand it to them.
We had to help them with the menu plan, though, because
we did.
We had to sort of sit them down and say, look, this is exactly where Jack gets his calcium, and this is where he gets his B12, and this is where we
giving them a lot of information. I think there's a big document, I'm trying to think who it is now, and it has a pear on it. I think it's First Steps Nutrition, and I sent that to them about a plant-based diet, and they just literally they just added that to what they were doing. And when she's ordering food, she looks at everything. So she's really took it on board. I'm really
and it was, sorry, you carry on.
No, I was just going to say, you see, the thing is, a lot of the parents who get in touch with me to ask for help feel like they're at the end of their tether, because they've asked for vegan food and they've said no. And it's really hard to be in that situation. We're quite lucky, clearly, that we've worked with schools who, are nurseries who are a little bit more willing. But I do think that we just need to look at teachers as just people who just don't know. They just don't know. And the thing is that when I do my presentations in my staff room, and I do my segment on Nursery Rhymes, and I talk about, and I actually say to them, you guys, what do you think are appropriate and inappropriate nursery rhymes after the kind of conversation that we've had? And you see the light bulb. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What a fish I like.
Yes.
And I see the pennies drop, and they're just, oh yeah, we do talk about animal use and abuse quite a lot. Yeah, now you come to mention it, and I think once, that's why I love doing that presentation, is because when you see that penny drop and they realise for the first time ever that perhaps they are perpetuating this kind of violence in their schools. More often than not, they do want to change.
Children find that upsetting, though. They find those nursery rhymes upsetting. Old MacDonald, for example, Jack doesn't like that at all.
No, in this house.
Oh,
Well, MacDonald's not a very nice man.
Yeah, and he sings about a farm sanctuary. You know, that's
Old MacDonald and his make-believe farm is the sentence that I use in my presentations.
And what's it? What, this little piggy, you know.
There's loads of them. They're awful.
One, yeah.
And I get it. I mean, you've read my book. There's a part where I talk about that. There was a time in ye old England where, you know, if you had 3 mice, you would want to chop off their tails with a carving knife because, you know, you didn't have any kind of refrigeration system. And if mice got into your parlor, then, you know, you were buggered. So I can appreciate where they came from, and sayings like, you know, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Those kind of things. I get and I understand where they come from, but we are living in a modern society now where we don't need to be singing about or talking about those kind of things because they are cruel. Yeah,
they are. They are really cruel.
I hadn't even thought about those ones that you've sent there. It's a bottomless pit, isn't it, of animal abuse?
Relentless.
It is.
It's not just that; it's cookery lessons as well when they are at school. How do you get around things like that? Getting make it just sounds like an absolute minefield.
It is. So what I explain to teachers is, if let's say, for example, you're making a chili con carne, so you're making a chili con carne for the children who eat meat, and you're making a vegan bean con carne for the one child perhaps in your class who doesn't. So you're setting yourself up for more work. What I always explain is, if you just do, you're doing 2 sets of ingredients, 2 sets of this, buying 2 sets of shopping, 2 sets of this, ensuring that child is on that side of the room and there's no contamination, just do the vegan bean for everybody. And I kind of just say it in that way, just if you make the vegan option, the children are none the wiser. They're still getting the skills, the essential skills of the chopping, the mixing, whatever else that they're doing. Just make the vegan option. And I explain this because, like I said, teachers are stressed and they're busy and they have a lot of pressure. So whatever you can do and say to make their lives easier, that's kind of what I say. If you just do the one vegan dish for everybody, everyone still gets a delicious meal at the end of it. They've learned the skills, but you've avoided kind of the meat being in there, and that that's a few more animals saved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you think in that situation though, there's going to be the teachers are going to be thinking, well, what about other parents? Are they going to complain about the fact that we're doing vegan food? Have you ever found that? Yeah.
I mean, there's opposition from every which way of society, isn't there? Doesn't matter what you do, there's always going to be people who oppose you. I mean, when I got the menu for my daughter, I daren't read the Berry Times comments. But I just focus on I get them to focus on the positives of if you're doing this bean casserole just once, or bean concarne just once, the parents don't even really need to know about it. I mean, how much does a parent actually know about what's going on in their school with the children on a daily basis? More often than not, and any of the watchers who've got teenage children, especially when they come home, what did you do today? Can't remember. I used to do it with my mum, what did you do today? Oh, I don't know, can't remember. So more often than not, parents don't even really get to know about what's happening with their kids in schools, which is also why I find my work so important, is because I know what's happening. I know what the curriculum looks like. I know what our children are being exposed to. And I'm going to work my entire life ensuring that it's changed.
So how can people get in touch with you? Obviously, you've got your Instagram page, but for parents out there who aren't getting anywhere with their schools, what's the next step?
So hello@primaryvegetation.com is my email. So it's primary education with the V at the start. And I have several steps that I can offer. I can act as an intermediary. I can be CC'd into emails. I can give letter pro formas. I'm happy to go into schools, speak to head teachers, do presentations, provide my book. I mean, there's literally no length I wouldn't go to in order to help a family who are struggling with their school. But to be honest with you, the most important thing for me is the stuff that I'm doing where I kind of get to the root cause of stuff. So I'm speaking in Parliament, actually, on Thursday at the all-party parliamentary group on school food. And there are quite a few influential people at that meeting who actually decide what happens in the school food realm. And so, because it's all very well me helping one school here and there, but if there's no legislation or guidance from the Education Authority, then it is literally just going to be one school at a time, me just plodding away, or yourself, or the wonderful Ruth Jenkins, or anybody else who's doing school stuff. I mean, for years and years, it was just me. So it's great. It's great to see that you know, there are other people now coming to join the vegan inclusion fight. I'm loving it. The more the merrier. But the kind of stuff that I'm doing in Parliament and the things behind the scenes with MPs and LEAs is just kind of where I'm kind of heading as well, just so that in actual fact there needs to be some legislation. We need to start changing the law.
Definitely. I hope that really goes well as well, because these government people are not going to know what's hit them if they don't change. They're going to have us, Ruth Jenkins, you. They're going to have loads of families standing up all over the country, approaching schools. They're going to be walking into a storm of, because
Actually, talking of Ruth Jenkins, I'm not sure if she's watching tonight, but her article was handed to me by the nursery, our nursery. And I said, I know who that is. And she's on my radar. At some point, I need to drop her a message and ask her if she wants to come on, because she's got quite a story as well. And I think all of us together, we can make a big difference, because vegan children are the future. I keep saying it. They are the future of this planet, and we've got to get it right for them. And
I explain to schools, you know, if you get on board with this now, you're safeguarding yourself, because there is no stopping this tsunami.
No, there isn't.
No.
I think we said this in a stream. They need to be prepared for this, because it's going to happen. They just need to be ready for it. Because the amount of vegans is just growing at the moment.
I think we worked out it was.
Is it 1 in 13 families are now raising?
1 in 12, I think.
Or is it 1 in 12
something like
families are now raising their children vegan?
That is a great statistic.
I think we heard about that the other day, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's like 1 in 12.
I've got another one on the way.
I know, yes. So you've got a vegan
bean on the way. Yep.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So I think obviously with this Parliament thing, you've got a petition, haven't you, that people can sign. So really, we need to get that up and show people. So where we haven't got that up, we need to.
It's on change.org. There's about 7,500 signatures on there already.
Okay.
If we could get to 10,000 before Thursday, that would be incredible. Just so I'm walking in there with as many voices behind me as possibly can.
So what is the name of the petition?
So it's called plant-based options in every school. Obviously using plant-based, so I don't scare off the politicians with the word vegan, but obviously in the presentation I will be using the word vegan.
Yeah. So I think it'd be really good, those of you with the community tabs on your YouTube channels, if you can perhaps share these.
There it is. I've got it. Right.
If we can get this out over the next few days.
If everyone in the chat can go over there and...
Should we put it in the link description?
So here, I'm going to bring it up here.
Because we've already signed it.
I'll put the link.
There it is.
I'm going to copy and paste it into here.
Thank you.
We can get this to 10,000 over the next few days.
25 people in the chat.
It's done.
Already done.
Yeah, that would be sweet.
Get over there.
It would.
And
it's going up. It's going up as we speak.
That's a mega. You can also sign up to watch the APPG as well.
Okay.
There I am. Adam Jenkins.
Yeah, you're
Worcester,
on it.
England. So yeah, amazing. This is a great thing.
So what were you just saying? They can also watch what?
I have a link that I can send to you as well that actually allows people to watch the parliamentary debate, I guess.
Okay.
Live. So I can send that to you as well.
I love the sound of that.
Yeah, when is it? Do I need to book?
So it's on Thursday at 2 p.m.
Okay.
Thursday 21st at 2 p.m. So
Wow.
I'll send you that link, and then you can share it.
That sounds
But
incredible.
it is, I mean, the lineup is quite scary. You know, you've got Department for Education, you've got Under Secretary to the Secretary of State, you've got all sorts of really influential people there. So the more names that I can take in with me, the absolute better, because it just shows that we are that force to be reckoned with.
So my plea right now, before you say anything else, Adam,
Yeah, okay.
is those of you watching, please go and sign it. If you can share it on your YouTube channel, your social media pages, get people signing that petition. Let's get it to 10,000 by Wednesday. We want it ready.
Please, that would be
go
lovely.
sign it.
It's a mandatory vegan food, because head teachers now have too much power to just say no. Do you know what? I don't want to. I can't be bothered. Not going to provide vegan food, and there is no guidance from the Education Authority to say that they should. So that's what I'm actually specifically going in to say, is that if a vegan family asks for a vegan option, then the head teacher must say yes.
Yeah, I think that is
Leon,
that fills me with. I can't explain it.
Leon, if that goes on Reddit, that's going to go like viral.
Thank you, Leon. You are a legend.
Legend.
Yes, yeah. Elliot, I think I didn't believe that statistic when I first heard it, but I think it's based on it's like the amount of vegans are denser in different areas of the UK.
Certainly not a lot of them around here.
There's no, I can say there's not. I didn't believe it because there's not. Yeah, it is Farmville around here. But yeah, where did we hear it from? It was from somewhere, that statistic.
I can't remember.
But we got told it by the Canadian radio.
Yeah, but
well.
I think Reese with Peace mentioned it
as well.
He interviewed us the other day.
Yeah, Reese with Peace interviewed it.
I've heard it a few times. But what I want to get onto is bullying in school. And vegan children, as we know, this is something that does go on. And I think it was Ruth, the vegan teacher, mentioned a little while ago that there was about a 12-year-old, I think, who killed himself when he got bullied at school. I think they threw things at him. This is another challenge. This is another area that I do worry about. And I think if we can get schools on board with this now, it's going to make a big impact, isn't it?
I was looking in my book then, because I actually talk about the bullying aspect. And I mentioned, Dante and Louis are two boys who have been attacked. Louis, he hung himself.
That's the one.
Yeah, because he was vegan and bullied about it. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. Now, children can be mean. They can be mean about any kind of subject, but this is one that's really worrying, and it's something that obviously I mentioned in my presentations to school. And it's just, the more schools have vegan literature, the more schools discuss it in their classes, the more that they realize and accept and become inclusive of it, the more it becomes the norm. And so bullying is less likely to happen, because if you are a vegan child, you may not necessarily stand out so much or seem so different. At the end of the day, it's differences that they pick up on. Yeah. And so, I think we just need to stay focused on just teaching the teachers and ensuring that they understand that this is something they need to keep their eye on as well.
That's great, Michelle. Michelle's got.
Oh my God.
Great. All of that.
Michelle will be on that now.
Yeah,
Michelle is fully on board with this as well, so it's great. There's some really good people involved with this school thing.
Well, I mean, it would just to get that one thing, that one bit of guidance changed will make such a difference in the start to stopping the bullying and getting veganism into schools more.
It's literally giving me pimples at my arm.
I don't understand. Because it is a form of discrimination.
It is.
Without a doubt.
Literally a form of discrimination.
Without a doubt. See, I've had to explain to head teachers before, and it's not been just one, it's been a handful, that veganism is more akin with Buddhism and humanism than it is with the Atkins or the paleo.
It's belief.
That is the biggest misconception about veganism in the kind of education world, is that you know, we don't want to give vegan food and we don't really want to talk about veganism because it's just this diet. It's just, you know, if I'm going to cater for vegan, I may as well cater for paleo and Atkins. And it's just like, no, that's not what veganism is about at all. So yeah, we've still got a long way to go. But like I said, you know, a couple of years, well, for the last 3 or 4 years, it's just been little old me pedaling away. And now, you know, there are some really great activists like yourselves coming out and doing this as well, and just making sure that our kiddies are protected from.
That's the focus.
Yeah,
it's amazing what having a little boy can do. I mean, I'm usually so shy. I don't like anything like this. I mean, I'm quite surprised. I've, you know, been doing live stream, and I normally don't like get behind a camera, but when it comes to my son, that's it, you know.
Well, this is all for Lois. She's my driving force. You know, if it wasn't for her starting school and for me wanting the best for her, then I probably wouldn't have, you know, made such a noise myself over the years.
I think it's amazing what you've done. I really do. It's gonna be, I just hope things work out for the better. I mean, like I said, the Equality Act is there. It's there to be used, and I think for the school, it's got to be used. They need. That's one of our questions in our project is, do they understand about the Equality Act with veganism? You know, do they understand that that's now a protected characteristic? And I guess a lot of people don't know that. They don't know at all, do they?
No. And then I often feel, you know, how far is your head in that sand for you to not know these things? But then I live in a vegan bubble.
Yeah.
And everybody who I know pretty much is vegan, and everybody who I love and admire and listen to on a daily basis are vegan. And so, you know, to just step out of that and just stay grounded and just realize that there are a lot of people who don't know anything about it, even with all the Veganuary posters everywhere and Joe Armstrong on GMTV, and even with all of these things happening, people still just do not know, because if it's not on their radar, then why should they? And so it's our job to just go out there and be as diplomatic and respectful as possible. But the animals need us, and the planet needs us, and the children need us. And so we do it all day, every day.
I think I mean, one thing I do believe is when you're a family, it's really difficult to get in various of the different things. I mean, we do a lot of activism through social media, and our school project obviously is probably classed as a form of activism. But what you're doing is definitely activism, because you are going out there, you're educating, and it's brilliant. I think there's a lot of people out there, probably families that just don't know sort of where to go or what to do. And I think when you're raising vegan children, in our eyes, it is definitely a form of activism. You were talking about the animals a lot. You know, we have to have those conversations, and I think if vegan families definitely need to support each other. It's not always easy having these conversations.
Agreed. And it can feel quite isolating if you're the only vegan in a village or in a rural area where you haven't really got that much support. I mean, I opened a vegan restaurant here when I first left teaching, and so I couldn't believe all of these vegans coming out of the woodwork. I had about 13 members of vegan staff at one point, and it was just unbelievable. And you know, I'm still friends with all of them all these years later, and it's great to have a vegan support network helping you, and that's why kind of your Facebook group for the vegan families is so good. I just think the way that the vegan community supports one another is just remarkable, and I've gotten a lot of strength and support you know, I give it back to vegan families, but you know, I get just as much from them as they get from me, because we're all working together for the greater good when we collaborate, and it's just great.
We definitely need you. I'm so glad that there is a Laura out there who does what you do. You know, it's what we need.
And whatever you do, you know that the whole vegan community will be behind you, backing you.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So what do you do when you're not doing this? Is there anything that you like to do aside from your school thing?
Oh my goodness. So I'm a bit of a yogi.
Okay.
I have green fingers.
Ooh.
Yes. But I mean, I'm writing a second book.
Wow.
I'm writing a second book, and I'm putting my course on. I'm making an online course. No, that's work related. But yeah, this is my life. It pretty much is. It's sad but true. I can't think of anything else that I do other than this, really.
I can relate to that. When I'm not working, the veganism is obviously parenting as well, but this is pretty much what we do. This is
what I do. This is me.
So if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask Laura, please feel free to pop them in. If we've missed anything, then do pop them back in, because sometimes we do miss them.
Laura, are you going to make it to Vegan Camp Out this year if it goes ahead?
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I hope it does go ahead.
I want to do the baby shark dance in that tent again at the end.
Yeah, I know. So Jordan's actually asked if I'll help him run the children's area. So definitely going to be there if it's on. Work in a work capacity. Mini Chapno will just be palmed off to anyone and everyone who wants to hold her. Actually, no, Granny B is coming.
He's looking at me.
Don't worry, the vegan cake baker, also known as my mum, is coming with to support. But even if that falls through, which I hope it doesn't, we have been in touch. Oh, my dad's. Yeah, I'll definitely be there in one form or another for sure. It's my favorite place. In fact, I did a post yesterday that basically just said it's my favorite place on earth, because it is. Yeah. It absolutely is. Just being amongst all those vegans, it revitalizes you. I really missed it last year. Really missed it.
Yeah, we loved it.
Gone.
I'm gonna nominate Nanny B to.
Oh yes, Nanny B.
Child Watch as well.
She's great. And she has cake on her all the time. So
cake sounds like a fantastic idea, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, we're always in that family area, so that's where we spend most of our time.
We're usually floating around the tent that has the pizza oven.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, there was one near us.
I love that. It is. So yeah, hopefully I'll be there. I'd love to be there in a working capacity, but we just need to dot a few I's and cross a few T's. But if not, I'll definitely be there as a paid guest, and we'll enjoy the fruits of everyone else's labour. But it's great. It is great. I mean, it just all these brilliant events that we've missed last year. I can't wait for them all to happen again. The vegan fairs and the whatnot. It does feel like a part of me has been missing, not being able to be amongst vegans, but this kind of thing has filled the gap. So thank you. Thank you very much.
So we managed to get to like 2 vegan fairs this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we went to a vegan fair just before lockdown, and we actually had the chance to do a presentation on raising vegan children, which was brilliant. And I thought that was the start of things to come, and then
it locked down.
COVID.
COVID. I'm in Manchester, so we haven't been able to leave our houses for ages. We've been in super duper lockdown forever.
So this is a question to you.
Go on, Bohemia. Laura, this is. Do you know, I have to be honest with you, I have not dealt with any POC. No parents
really
have got in touch with me who I'm not sure why, because I'm as inclusive as can be. Anyone and everyone from anywhere can get in touch with me. But 99.9% of the people who've got in touch with me have been female mothers and I haven't dealt with any families of colour. So, I mean, I don't know what that says about, I don't know what that says.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I know there's a lot of families out there who don't necessarily say anything to schools, neither do they, because they're worried about this. I hear about this as well.
It's just they don't want to rock the boat when they've only just started. You know, sometimes because of the media, we can be perceived as pushy before we've even said or done anything.
Here come the vegans.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's and if you've just joined a school and you know that you've got 6 years of being with them, it is intimidating to want to rock the boat when you've only just started. I get that. I really, really get that. And if I hadn't have been a teacher previously, then I don't know if I would have had the confidence to have made as much noise as I did initially. But always with a smile and always with cake.
Smile. That's my smile.
Let's talk about vegan stuff.
Yeah, here's some cake. Yeah. Obviously for us, it's completely new. And aside from what we do, because I think, you know, we're quite confident with what we do when we're talking about this to the nursery, and they know what we do. They're really behind us. But it is a minefield, and there's a lot that I haven't even considered yet because we're not there at school. What kind of things should we be asking? And for those people who, you know, aren't as confident as us, what kind of things should we be asking when we're sort of looking for a school for our son to go to?
So that's a really, really good time to gauge what they are going to be like. I just say straight off the bat, tell them that you're vegan. Straight off the bat, tell them that they're vegan, because we didn't when we went looking around schools.
Didn't you?
Oddly, we didn't. I think it's just because it was like such a big, large group of us all of the time, and we didn't really have that one-to-one. But I think it's important to kind of perhaps talk about, you know, so what do you do to foster compassion, and what do you do in regards to the environment, and do you have, you know, live animals coming in? Do they go on trips? Just kind of, it's just those kind of just questions of, you know, what kind of things do they learn about in science, and just those key things where, you know, the animals are mostly used and talked about, those key areas. You know, and the would you be open? Would you be open to perhaps talking about changing or tweaking your curriculum? Would you be open perhaps to me coming in and reading a book for the children about veganism? Would you be open to, you know, us discussing vegan food in the kitchen if you don't supply that already, and just not going in again too forcefully, but would you be open?
Okay.
I guess.
That's really helpful advice, definitely. It's very scary.
It is. That's the thing. You either are comfortable going in with all these questions, or you aren't. But again, maybe perhaps arranging just a one-to-one with the head teacher. I've seen your booklet. You are close to my home. I really want my children to come to your school or child. Do you think there's an opportunity for us to sit down and talk before I put my submission in? Because I'd really like to just, you know, pick your brain, because we can't forget that head teachers and teachers are people, humans.
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing is, we look at teachers and head teachers as figures of authority, because we've all been to school and we've always looked up to them as figures of authority. But very much like members of parliament, they work for you. That's kind of the saying for MPs, is they work for you. Head teachers work for you. They all get paid by the state. They all get paid by our tax money. And parents have a lot more power than they know.
Yeah. I think obviously with COVID we can't have one-to-ones, but my initial idea was going to be, he doesn't go to school till next year. I will be getting in there and saying, right, okay, let's talk, need to know what you're doing. So I think that's good advice, definitely.
And also, you know, there's always me who you can ask for resources. You know, I can give you a loaded pack of stuff you can hand to them and say, you know, here's some stuff that you can be reading. Or I often say to parents, you know, give them my guidebook whilst they've got kind of a holiday period, the Christmas 2 weeks or a summer period where they've got the time to digest it and read it properly and fully understand it. Because then it shows that you're not just asking for stuff, you're actually providing the tools for them to be able to change as well, and kind of it's a bit of give and take.
I think I'm going to be obviously when we finish doing what we're doing, I should be getting a couple of these, one for the nursery, and certainly getting some of these into schools in the future. I think these
I'll send you some.
Schools.
I'll send you some.
Okay.
Oh, that'd be great.
Pleasure.
Bless you. Did we have?
Yeah, we've had a few more questions.
Oh, okay.
Bohemian Bee asks again: have you had a real stubborn teacher or head teacher that has been against veganism?
Not necessarily against veganism, but I've had one head teacher, who was just adamant that they weren't going to have vegan food in the school. A lovely, lovely lady got in touch with me, and I ended up having to seek legal advice, actually, from a couple of people, one at Jeanette at the Vegan Society, and another lovely lady, Michelle, who's a barrister, and actually just get some legal information and get them involved. And then I actually had to hand it over to them. It kind of, that's how stubborn that this head teacher was being about the fact that she wasn't going to provide vegan food. She's been the only one. So
that's really strange, isn't it?
It's still ongoing, unfortunately. It is still ongoing, which is why I think if I have this change from the Department for Education and get this kind of guidance sorted so that they can't refuse, then that case to me will end, which will give me so much joy because it's been really painful. But more often than not, they've been receptive because, again, the parents have requested that I go in, and head teachers, you know, they have to essentially kind of do what the parents say and suggest. It comes with that power of being a parent that parents just don't know about. But thankfully, even schools where they've shown initial resistance, it's more often than not kind of just like, what's this woman going to say? What's she going to do? It's more of a worry than anything. But by the end of the presentation, it's always kind of, thank you so much for coming. I've learned a lot. I really understand now why the parents have asked for you to come. Thank you. And I had one woman ask me in the middle of a presentation, do you think my daughter is evil because she eats meat? So that was kind of a tough one to deal with when you're in a room.
Awkward question.
In a room full of 30 strangers. And I was in rural Norwich in a lambing
farms,
in a lambing community. You know, but I just turned around to her and I said, look, at the end of the day, you know, my daughter is vegan because I've explained to her what veganism is in a black and white way. Perhaps when speaking about meat eating, you may have been in more of a grey area, and just used the diplomacy that I'd learned and the skills, having been a teacher myself and a company director and having to wear all those hats over the years, and just put that into practice. And then she shook my hand at the end of it and just said, thank you very much. You know, I really appreciate you coming. And kind of, so it's just about having those conversations with those people who just, again, they just don't really understand, and having respect for them and not being forceful or anything like that. And yeah, not too much resistance, thankfully, so far. That's Schools good. Are inclusive institutions at the end of the day. So if I'm using the word inclusive, which is something that from the very, very start, I just thought I have to hammer home vegan inclusion, because if schools claim to be inclusive institutions, then they're not going to, you know, they're not going to be kind of that harsh towards me when all I'm asking for is just a little bit more inclusion.
Yeah,
no, it's a really refreshing approach to what is quite a touchy subject to people. So I really like it. What's this? So the Vegan Moon Cat has added the FU flute to a digital download patron. So
you've got to hear it. It's so great. It's just brilliant.
Right, we did have a Laura. This is more of a future-related question, but what are your potential plans regarding the curriculum of schools, e.g., biology's dissections and lessons of non-human animals?
Well, future plans involve, and I'm in the very preliminary stages of this, starting a charity. So veganism in education, basically.
Wow.
Which, again, very preliminary. We've only been talking about it for about a year, pulling all the things together. But recently, the humanists managed to gain a seat at the table when it came to religious education, because just recently, religious education has changed from just being RE to RE and worldviews. Now, the humanists are a philosophical belief. So we as vegans were watching kind of the ruling on that. We're like so eager. And when they said, yes, you can have a seat at the table, that's when we immediately started to think, well, do you know what? We're a philosophical belief. So we should be in the RE curriculum. And so that's kind of one way in.
That's great.
But also the charity would just encompass all kinds of vegan education. So vegan literature and teacher training, going into universities and teaching the trainee teachers about veganism so that when they go into schools, they're prepared to take on vegan children. And also, you know, there's going to be lots of stuff in that with changing the law and just, yeah, basically that's kind of where I'm heading, where it's heading.
Well, you've got our support, and if you need anything, you let us know. And I think you've got the rest of the vegan community right behind you.
There's just nobody out there. So you've got like the Vegan Society, and you've got all these amazing charities out there, Viva and whatnot, but there's nobody actually going deep into the education institution and kind of working from the bottom up. So I really want to get in there and start doing that, really, and that will in turn mean that the curriculum becomes more humane. That's all I want, really. It's not a big ask, just the entire British curriculum to change to a humane curriculum, you know, just a little thing. But yeah, that's what I'm working towards.
So Defender of Animals is asking, would you be suggesting not going to school trips to zoos as part of your future plans?
That's
100%. 100% without a doubt. Sanctuaries.
Yes.
More often than not, the only key skills that children have to learn in the early years settings, key stage 1 and 2, is to, well, especially the early years, is just to observe animals. That's it. They just need to observe and learn about animals. And they don't need to go to a farm or a zoo to do that. They can do that at a sanctuary. So I absolutely would recommend that zoos, circuses, aquariums, all of them off the curriculum. We need to be learning about natural habitats. Our children need to understand that we need natural habitats, and they shouldn't be wasting their time on unnatural habitats, because nature needs them. The animals need them. We've got generation after generation after generation of children coming up thinking that a zoo is more interesting than going to see a lake.
Yeah.
Or walking in a forest. You know, going to an aquarium is better than actually going and looking at a pond and seeing the life there. And it's a shame. It's a great big shame. And so the curriculum needs to just kind of start promoting those natural habitats more and more, because we're just in such a dire situation. So most definitely, zoos are off the curriculum as far as I'm concerned.
I think if that, you know, when that happens to us and it's like, oh, they're going to go on a trip to a zoo, it'll be, my gut feeling will be, well, I tell you what, I'll take him to the sanctuary for the day, because he is not going to the zoo or at the aquarium or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, the year 2 class that my daughter is in at the moment, they've always gone to the zoo. Oh, sorry, it was the year 1 class she was in last year. They'd always gone to the zoo, and they changed the entire topic for her, and they learnt about local animals instead and went on local walks, because we live in quite a pretty area with lots of greenery, and it was easy enough to do. She'd been a teacher for 20, 30 years, and she just knew that it wasn't going to be that much of a drastic change. And so that's what they did. So it's easily done. And in my guidebook, I write plans so that teachers aren't just kind of shooting in the dark, that they know what they can do and how they can do it. And so that's the way that we're moving forward. But I mean, animal circuses have already been pretty much taken off the curriculum because they've been banned. So, one tick.
Yes.
SeaWorld is on the way out. So hopefully aquariums soon enough will be tick. And then they'll have to teach about the natural world because that's what will be hopefully left if we don't destroy it beforehand.
And now hopefully start talking more about veganism. Hopefully very, very soon. Yes,
indeed. That's the dream.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time tonight. It has been great.
It's been really good. Also, we've hit the 1 hour and 5 minutes mark, and we were aiming, weren't we?
Yeah.
Time, so.
Have you got any final things you would like to say? Anything at all that we've not discussed or anything we've not asked?
Oh, blimey. We've been through so much. It's been wonderful. So again, just if anyone wants to support me with the petition, that's kind of the main thing before Thursday. That would be great. Also, if this is your bag and you're a teacher perhaps, or vegan teachers who want to get on board, let's all link together, collaborate, and work as much as we can to move this forward. And thank you to the both of you for having me. Even though you're a little sleep deprived, this has been such a pleasure. You would never have guessed.
I just got this final thing because Daryl, he means a lot to me, so I just want to try and get this up here.
Yeah, he does.
He does. So thanks for your answer, Laura. How would you suggest we teach kids about exotic wildlife not native to the UK? Would we do it through? Could we plan school trips to abroad, or it'd be a bit of a?
That's a good question.
It would be a bit of a minefield with vaccines to malarias and all this stuff. That's if coronavirus hasn't wiped us all out by then.
No, I know. Don't
go there.
I always got through an hour without mentioning COVID.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
It's done. It's the life we live. It's the life we are living. So I was invited to speak at Oxford University at their Humane Education Summer School a couple of years back. And one thing that I said was, have you ever been in a room with children when they are learning about dinosaurs and the look on their face of absolute awe when you talk about a Tyrannosaurus Rex? Well, they've never seen one.
Nope.
They've never been in the same room as one, and they are never likely to see one. And it's that same kind of thing that I want to get across, is that,
You're telling me that Jurassic Park isn't real?
Oh, mate, I'm really sorry to burst out bubble, but Steven Spielberg made that one, mate.
Broken man.
It's that same thing, you don't need to be in the same room as a python to know how awesome they are. You don't need to be in the same vicinity as a tarantula to know that they are pretty spectacular. There are so many ways, using all this modern technology now, that we can look at exotic animals and the rhinos and tigers of the world.
Good question. You imagine taking 30
That would just be collateral, wouldn't it?
Oh my God, no high vis or counting heads in the world.
Oh, that would be. I wouldn't want that responsibility.
No, sorry. But it's just that same thing of just children can understand how magnificent something is just by seeing a video of it. And they don't need to see it in person.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park is real. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's been, I think Oh, there's one last question, and
Okay,
then I think we'll let you
Leon.
go. Would you be okay with having an educational trip towards a farm and or slaughterhouse?
Ooh. So I think there's no reason why teenagers can't visit a slaughterhouse. Because they are reaching that age where they're becoming they'll become independent in a year or two. I would never take younger children to a slaughterhouse, because I think it's probably just a little bit too much for their little innocent minds. I think if my daughter can understand it without having been to visit one, then other children can. Farms, no. I've got no time for animal farms, and I hate the fact. In fact, Time Hop on Facebook showed me with my friend Ruth when we were training to be teachers, visiting a farm. We went as educators so that we could learn how to educate children about this stuff, and it was crazy. I just think it's just, if we take children to farms, then it's just perpetuating that narrative of animals belong here and this is a habitat. We shouldn't be teaching about farms as habitats, because they're man-made, they're not natural. And the quicker we can get animal farms off the curriculum, the better as well, to be honest.
That would be great.
It would.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, that is, as well. Also,
it's the dairy industry's there, and
we caught CBB showing. I think there's a program called Down on the Farm.
Oh God, yeah, that needs reporting.
Yeah, there was a person with their arms deep in a cow,
showing what
they do.
Dairy industry didn't
CBBS.
mention the male calves though. What happens to those? No, because it's CBBS.
So yeah, CBBS is banned.
I just think we have to be grateful for the fact that social media will allow children the opportunity to see activism, and people like Earthling Ed, or even just the younger ones. You've got Activist and Vegan Evan and all these youngsters coming out with their YouTube channels and everything that's amazing. And so I think the children are the future. I mean, I'm sure this one wants a YouTube channel. When I mentioned I was coming on a YouTube live with you, her ears pricked up. YouTube, what? She's going to do it eventually herself, to be honest.
Let us know.
Yeah,
we'll interview her when she's older.
I would be careful, because we found out the hard way that YouTube can be quite a ruthless place.
Yeah, there's a lot of anti-vegans out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if the right children watch, then
yes,
you never know.
Definitely.
You never know.
Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to everyone who has signed the petition and everyone who is going to go and sign the petition. Do you want to share it just one last time?
Yeah, one last time. We're going to try over there now. If you haven't already done it, here it is, the plant-based options in every school. So go and sign that petition. Should we pop it back in the link in the we're going to
chat just one more time. And we'll make sure it's in the description as well when the video goes up.
How could you say no to signing it to that smile? How could you say no?
Go. That picture of my little girl was in between her head teacher and the head chef at her school, that was in the newspaper when we went to her vegan dinners.
That's brilliant. It gives me so much hope. It really does. Especially speaking to you now, it definitely gives me hope.
Oh,
does it make you feel a bit better?
It does.
Yeah, good. Yay!
So yes,
we'll let you go. Thank you for your time, and we will definitely be in touch soon.
Oh yes, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you for everything that you guys do. You're amazing. Thank you,
and good luck with the baby.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Take care.
See you guys soon. Thanks.
Bye. Thank you, everybody.